Greetings, guys, and welcome back to another part of, yes, you guessed it, the Open World series. Right now, we are not right in Unreal Engine, we are in World Machine, if you can see. Why are we in World Machine? So, I've decided that we'll take a break from our character creation to actually create a terrain that we can use in the world instead of just just that testing thing, the base testing environment. So we are gonna create something different. So today I'm here in World Machine, and I will teach you the basics of World Machine, so that enough basics so that you can actually go ahead and create your own terrains. So right here, when you open a World Machine, and also guys, this is the free edition of World Machine. So if you just go to Google and search for World Machine and just go over here, and as you can see, you can download this now. Of course, there's like a premium version for this, but I'm using the free version. And as I promised, this tutorial is gonna be for like $0 budget people. So yeah, you can download the free version and it will work just as fine. I have the free version only. So yeah, as you can see, so it just creates a terrain from us from the start, right? So you can see that this is the terrain. Not quite what we want, right? So what we'll do is to change that. So how do we change things in World Machine? Well, World Machine has its own kinds of blueprints, you can say. These are called devices. So if you press F5 or just click on this right over here, this is gonna take you to the devices. So now these devices actually decide how your world is going to look. Okay, so basically what they've done in this simple scene is that they've explained it. So you might choose to put your generators here. They have put an advanced Perlin, which is basically used for sort of generating the groundwork. Like it generates like um, the basic thing before we add the details like the terracing on this. So it just generates the basic thing, and you can change the settings by double clicking on it, and you can just change all sorts of settings. So yeah, so you can change all sorts of settings, basic, so you can play around with that to get different results. You can see there's a preview over here, and if I click OK, you know this thing happens. uh, and also now this terrace. So what does terrace do? Well, let me go inside of here. You can also, by the way, access your devices from here. So this terrace, what does this do? So this just basically creates sort of steps. So as you can see, if I just remove these terraces, then I mean there's only one terrace, so there's just one step, and you can add as many as you want, and this will become even more sharp. So this is actually used in some games, and you might want to use this. And you can change the terrace shape. So yeah, and the terrace layering. So you're automatically seeing what it does, right? So just go ahead and play around with these. So now that we have this here, and finally, last but not the least, we have our height output. What is a height output? Well, it just sort of helps us to get our height map out and export it to like Unreal Engine, Unity, and game engines like that. So we can write our output to the disk by entering a file name and then setting a path and then all. So yeah. um, but this world right here, okay, maybe looks good, but I want to get hold of it, like, and I want to play around with world machine. Okay, I just don't want to leave it like that. I want to create a better world. So what will I do? So first of all, I'll just drag over here, and as you do in Unreal, you can just press delete to delete all of this. All of the devices have been deleted, and now no device is selected or device is not built. So this basically runs on the basis of devices, and you can delete all these groups by clicking on them and pressing shift delete and shift delete there. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add some of our own devices over here, right? And I have created like a good list of in the open world assets. If you see, I have in the MISC I have created, just open it up with Notepad. I've created a list of this recommended settings. So I played around with many of these settings and found out these to be the best looking. Okay, so I will also put these open world assets on download. I'll create a download link for them, so you guys don't have to just get all the resources from elsewhere. You can just, this can be a one-stop shop for you. Okay, so link will be surely in the description of this video. So enough about that. So let's just go ahead and get started. So what we're gonna do is, first we need a generator. Generators are basically, they generate the base, like I told you. So many people would use the advanced Perlin, but I like to go ahead and use Voronoi. So you just click on it and then place it wherever you want, and once you click on it, you can just like place it wherever you want now, and you can double click it to change its settings. So now we can open up our own settings here, and now we can just enter these. So 2.054, right? And as you can see, this changes the thing. Now I like Voronoi because it has like sharp mountains, as you can see. So this creates a good effect, according to me. So we can just like go ahead and style F2. This can be Euclidean, and minus 0.625. So you can 0.625. So you can copy down these settings, or you can play around with these settings, and depending upon which ones you like the most, you can just do stuff. So this random seed right here is very important, changes the environment drastically. So I like to set that at 15582, 15582. And if you now see there, and look at that, so we have our thing right over here. So now you can see it's good. We can even like build this to like get some anti-aliasing on this thing. So if I just build this, there you go, you can get some anti-aliasing and look at your world. So yeah, nice. And now we are gonna actually add in some erosion over here by going to the natural, and what is this, erosion, right? So we're gonna plug this primary output into the erosion. So you can see this kind of works like blueprints in Unreal only. And this erosion will allow you to, you know, erode stuff so that it looks a bit more realistic. So in this, I like to use the preset classic world machine plus power, and then in the random seed, well, this just works fine for me. I like to use a random seed in this, which is like 26,000 to 27,000, but this is just as good. So I'll just click OK, and as you can see, we have some erosion. And also guys, I would like to change the project settings to make it custom. 2048 by 2048. Just save it. And this is a high resolution terrain because, you know, we don't, this is not a low poly game, this is a high poly game that we are making. So, you know, we need to set our terrain right for that. So now once you've done that, we can build our world. And you know, this actually takes some time depending upon your machine and how often you use world machine. But for me it takes around like 2 minutes, so I'll just be back when this is built. So I'm back guys, and as you can see, the build is completed successfully, so we can just click OK. And here we go, we get a really nice effect on this one, and this looks really better than the first one in my opinion. You know, the mountains are sharp, they look realistic, they have some erosion, so yeah, nice. Now after that, you know, this takes a long time to build. I mean 2 minutes, okay, but we can use filters to you know, lower the time down. So for example, you can play with all of these filters. For me, I use clamp the most. This is clamp, drag it, and then plug in the primary output of this to this. And this was like also change the height. So like if you want, wait, I'll just go into that, the preview, and then inside of clamp. So now as you can see, you know, you can like keep the height down. So this is like the lowest, this is the highest. So like if the mountains are, you know, too high, then it may look a little unrealistic. So we're just gonna lower that down. So for me, I guess 1995 meters there. So as you can see, and now if we build this, awesome. So that's pretty cool guys. So yeah, we have our thing. Now if you're wondering like the textures on this thing, like, you know, there isn't really any grass growing on like mountains, and the land is apparently desert. So this doesn't look too realistic, we don't want to import that. So what we'll actually do is a really cool thing guys. So what we'll do is actually head over onto Google Maps, and you know, you can go to Google Maps. So by default, you will have something like this in Google Maps. Yeah, we don't want textures like that. So what you're gonna do is expand the side panel. In the menu, go to satellite, and in satellite also turn the labels off. So now you can, you know, explore the world without labels. Whoa. Okay, so if you like are preparing a desert level, I highly recommend that you head to northwest, actually full north of, you know, Africa has some really nice stuff to offer. So what you can do is just go to a nice spot and search for the snipper tool, not nipper, snipper please, snipping tool, sorry, and then create a new snip, a rectangular snip, and then you can just save as, and then you can write this to whatever you want. So I have already no so I've already saved a bunch of these. I've saved a desert and I've saved the grass to blend in between these two inside a world machine. So that's going to be really fun. So there was no image editing in this, only just the snip, and that's done. So now if you head back into, you can also get my snips in the textures, terrain, and you can get my snips, the stuff I snipped. So you can see I've got a really nice desert thing, and I've really got a grass thing, really nice grass thing with these veins. So this will work really nicely. Now what you have to do to actually implement this um, is that so what's the last thing that affects clamp, the height? That is clamp, right? It affects the mountain's height. So what you need to do is go into selectors, and you can either uh, do this on the basis of slope, on the basis of height. So I find both of these to be pretty accurately working with our situation. I mean, the if the height gets high, then don't grow grass on it. Grow, like, use the desert textures. But if we use slope, these mountain slopes will also be covered. And like, if it is a slope like this, for example, like it's very highly inclined, then it's not going to be grassy. So what we can do is, you can use any of these two. To be a more accurate, I'll use slope. Drag it, drop it, and place the primary input in that. And now what you can do is just change all these settings. So I find the maximum 0.438, 0. Okay, so we just need to change that. So just 4.3 is good enough, and then 0.24. Yeah, so that's good enough. And then in this fall of control also, you can adjust this about 53 or 56. Yeah, it would do. And then fall of type is linear. Good. So this basically summarizes the slope. Okay. Now with this, what you can do is, in combiner section in the middle, there's a chooser. So this will help us. So if we like plug this square into the lower end of the chooser, then we can choose between these two textures, and then control. So basically what this chooser does is, it takes a controls, okay, which can be a height field. So in this case we're going to be using slope. It is going to feed that into the chooser, and the chooser will decide whether to use input A or input B according to the control, which is the slope. So I hope you've got that because word machine is a little heavy program to understand, but if you do it, then voila. So you can just we need files, right? So we can just go to our generators and then file input, take one of these, and then what we can do is load them. So I'll just go to my desktop, open world assets, textures, terrain, desert, there. So I just loaded desert, and I wanted to interpret it as a color and not like a height map. Right now it's interpreting it as a height map. I don't want that. So I wanted to interpret it as an RGB, and I want to tile it so that wherever the terrain can't end, right? It's an open world game. So you can tile the same thing infinite times. So yeah, and then uh, in the world placement, 2 kilometers is good enough for me. So 2 kilometers, and yeah, that may seem like a lot of tiles, but it will work, trust me. So you can just grab this and put this into input A, Control C, Control V, and then put this into input B. All we have to do is change the thing to grass there and press OK. So we can, organize these a little. Yeah, so this is like totally like blueprints in Unreal. So now if we like go to our thing by not selecting the file input but selecting the last thing that affected our height. Wait. Oh, I see. Also what we have to do is in outputs, we have to get an overlay view. Yup, I nearly forgot that. So we need to get an overlay view and hook that up to that. Sorry, hook that up to in, yeah, we need to hook that up in the overlay input, and we need to input there what last affected our height, which is the slope. I mean, sorry, it was the clamp, not the slope that affected our height. So I'll just do that there. And now just clean it up a little bit there. And now if we select our overlay view and look at our thing, wow, it looks good, right? And you can just build that to enable the anti-aliasing, and it looks really good, right? So for some of you, maybe that appears a bit too noisy. So right now we are having no problems, but if it appears too noisy, your textures, then you can always change this to height, and it won't bother you. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with what we have here. So now we just have to find a way to export this into Unreal. And yeah, I know it has been a long video, but hey, we have created this piece of art right over here, and we want to export that also, right? So what we can do is from clamp, actually first we have to get our height output and place it over here and input the last thing that affected our height. Double click this, and now this will work for most the engines. So I've seen this work in Unreal Engine 4 obviously, and in CryEngine also this works. So what you have to do is just select raw 16. This is the file format that we want. It's high precision, and if you select like a raw precision, like maybe a TGA or just raw, you know it will appear kind of blocky, almost like Minecraft. So you don't want that. So yeah, raw 16, and then we're gonna name this to something like uh height, yeah. And then we're gonna set the path, and then I'm just gonna move it to the open world assets so you guys can actually access it directly without having to do all this. But it would be good advice if you do all this, because it would be good practice with world machine. So I'll just go into the terrain, save this height into there, and now once you've done that, you can write the output to disk, press yes, and there we go, it's written successfully. Now this may like seem like a jump scare to some of you, this error thing, but it's actually not an error, so you don't need to be jump scared. Press OK, press OK. And yeah, so you basically have your height output over here, and also what you will need is um, the slope also you will need. So just add another output, and then this will be a BMP, so no worries, it will just be a classic BMP. And then just write it as not slope, set that to terrain, no, in terrain but not the textures terrain, slope, and then save that. Now you can write the output to disk, and there we go. So we have saved our slope and our height field. So I guess that's pretty good. And yeah, that's pretty much all we need to do for this video. And yeah, so we can basically review on what we did in World Machine so that you can basically get a hang of it. So first we constructed a base of this, what you see right over here, using Voronoi. This was a base, right? And then we, to get a little realistic, we use some erosion, so you can see the difference. At the top it erodes, so yeah. And then we used clamp to shrink it a little bit down to avoid unrealistic mountains. Then on the basis of our slope, which is this, we chose a file input A or B, which was desert or grass respectively, to apply on our terrain, and then we fed that into an overlay view, and the final result looked something like this. So yeah, and we just, to save it, we just basically used height outputs. So you can just save this World Machine project also. I'll just name it WM projects, so that if you want to edit this, then you can edit that too. So I'm giving you the World Machine project also. This is the terrain project. You save that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's your intro with World Machine. So anytime you are tasked with creating a landscape, you can create that with World Machine. Now you can open up Epic Games Launcher, and we can open up Unreal Engine from that. So I'll just open up Unreal Engine, and I'll show you how to import that thing. So see ya. So hello guys, I'm back again, and now this video is actually getting a little bit long, but I promise you this is the last part and the most easiest part of the process. So after we're inside our project, we are inside and we can play test and all. So we have to open up this open world. I'm trying to be as quick as possible. Now we are just gonna delete this landscape. What we're gonna do is create another landscape. Now we're gonna import it from file, and then we are gonna select a height map, which is, I had already created one, but I'll use it from the open world assets. Terrain, height, R16, and there you go. So we got our height map, and this is sort of how it looks like, right? So now what you want to do is, this is actually very important, you have to change the number of components from 17 to 16, not 61, 16. Now I don't really know why this happens, but it changing this number really helps in registration, and yeah, so, and it changed the overall resolution to 2033. That's fine for me. So the default material we have selected is ground grass. We can just import this. Then there we go. We have imported successfully our landscape, and if you see, this is totally playable. This landscape is totally playable in. You can play in this landscape, have all sorts of fun. So yeah, guys. And so we have successfully created a tiled landscape and brought it into Unreal Engine from World Machine. So this video basically showed you the workflow from World Machine to Unreal Engine. So if you guys like this video, be sure to subscribe to support me, and also drop a like down, and remember the uh, project files, the open world project files, they are going to be available um, with the link in the description. So apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I know this was a bit long, but hey, we successfully created this. So yeah, guys, see you in the next video, and bye.